So Jette, very nice to meet you, and I want to congratulate you and Snøhetta on winning the 2024 OPAL Special Award for Sustainability. So we are very happy to give this award to you. You've done amazing work. I mean, Snøhetta has done amazing work, and yeah, I'll let you maybe just give us some words.
Thank you, Yasmine, and also on behalf of Snøhetta, it's a big honor to receive this award for our long-standing efforts on sustainability on all levels. Obviously, since over 30 years now, we've been advocate for sustainable design, with, of course, an emphasis on social sustainability, no sustainability with embedding the social aspects and responsibility into the built environment, but also obviously in the later years with a high focus on environmental sustainability to tackle all the situation we all in the building industry and the impact the building industry have on our environment, and take a clear stand and position in this regard. Also when it comes to research, also when it comes to setting new benchmark within the building industry to hopefully inspire others to follow up. So thank you very much. It's a big honor for Snøhetta to receive that recognition.
You're very welcome. I have now a few questions. Would you be able to share the most challenging project that tested your commitment to sustainability and what you learned from it? Because, knowing myself, there's always challenges when you have a very strong philosophy and you're defending something that's sadly not everywhere so implemented in the world of architecture.
I think a good example for our commitment and also kind of effort is the Powerhouse Alliance that you maybe have heard of, that Snøhetta is a founding partner of. We have been in this alliance since 2010. It is an alliance within the Norwegian building industry with the ambition to set a new standard for plus energy buildings. And still, I think, as far as I know, the kind of most ambitious definition in the world, we say that a building has to produce more renewable energy than it consumes during its lifetime. And we are counting 60 years for that. And we are also taking care of all the embodied energy in the building. And the renewable energy has to be produced on site. And when we started with this in 2010 in Norway, there were at least no kind of agreed way of calculating embodied energy. So we had partners within the university to establish a new standard. So together with the Powerhouse Alliance, we have realized some pilots. The first one was a retrofit building, an office building. That was the first plus energy retrofit building in the world according to that standard that accounted for all the embodied energy. Yeah, and we have followed up with another most plus energy building here in Norway. So we always, of course, thought when you can realize those ambitious projects in Norway, we have a harsh climate, we have cold winters, then there's no excuse for others to follow up. So we are currently rolling out the concept, trying to get it also abroad and in other Nordic countries. One other partner is Skanska, because it's important that you have the full chain of the building industry involved. Now it's Skanska as a contractor. And before we also had engineering disciplines and research institutions like Zero and others on board. So it was a broad commitment to set a new standard for the building industry. And we have other projects that came out of this kind of mindset, because it's not really to reinvent the wheel. It's really using the competence you have and just utilize it in a different way. So we have last year, we opened the first natural ventilated building in Norway for example. So it's also about now the effort of low-tech, passive means. So we are kind of, continuously developing this path further. And the aim is, of course, also that this impacts our total portfolio. So really being an ambassador for sustainable design and also showcasing it in the build project, because we think it's important to have build examples so others can see that this is possible and it doesn't necessarily require a bigger budget. It's about the smart thinking and structuring also the design process in a different way. That was maybe a long response, but I think it's important that it's not rocket science, actually. It's really about setting an ambitious goal, calibrating the mindsets, being a full team from the very beginning, because you can't tackle these challenges on your own. As an architect, you need all the engineering disciplines and others with their competence to have this holistic approach. And to quantify decision-making is also an important part of the process. It's a little bit different design, but it's super interesting.
Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense and gives a very good insight. That comes to another question that you're known for, that you do a lot of collaborations with other creatives. And do you think that helped in the pursuit for sustainability to get other experts in, other people related to your practice? And maybe just a few words about a few sentences on that.
Yeah, we're also doing a lot of material research, which you maybe are referring to, where we try very early on to involve industry partners, because what I also mentioned earlier, it's always good to have a result. So it's not kind of within an internal research sphere. So we're also showing this is actually possible. So we are trying to develop CO2 carbon concrete, because concrete is still a very important building material, which we think we can't replace by others, even though we have a lot of wooden construction here in Norway. But we think it's much more important to find a CO2 negative equivalent that can replace the current recipe, so to say. And we're also doing a lot of material research when it comes to furniture design, working with the Norwegian fish industry to recycle plastic and to show that recycled plastic, for example, has the same quality like virgin plastic. So we also have to work against some bias that are established in the building industry. And then we have developed a product with a startup here in Norway, Mycelium, which is a total compostable material that has fantastic possibility in terms of interior acoustics, and it is 100% fireproof, and it's 100% organic.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work very much along these paths, also involving our product design department. But really working always with industry partners. I think that has always been our approach. So we're able to showcase the results.
That's very interesting. I mean, mycelium is one of my favorite materials that I've been researching for a while. And the biodegradability, and it's a microorganism. And I think the one material that can be used for like everything, including food, So there's not any material like this in the world. I find it also very exciting. Okay, my last two questions. One is we are all talking about AI and how it's going to kill jobs. To what extent will it kill creative jobs, creativity? I've been talking to companies who are really downsizing their staff because they do believe that a lot of jobs are obsolete. How are you tackling this? Where do you feel it's going to be an advantage? What's going to be in the future? And how do you see? Because it has obviously positive and negative implications, and it would be nice to hear your view on it.
I mean, Snøhetta has always been embracing technology because it's part of our cutting-edge design process. So we're always trying and testing new tools. And at the moment, we have it actually now for half a year or a little bit more. We have an internal research project on AI. but not at all that it will replace human intelligence, but we're trying to make it as an intelligent tool so we can prioritize much better, and so that it's more like a helping tool for us to kind of ease in some processes so we can focus really on what we are best at the design at the core. So it's more like any other data-driven process. We are trying to make it as an efficient and helpful tool to boost some processes that we are spending unnecessary time of. So really help us to reduce that part of the time that is related to production and time-consuming issues, and helping us to kind of be even smarter, but then leading hopefully to even much better design and being able to spend more process and time on any design-related task, which is at the very core of what we do. So it's really always curious, interesting where that can lead to, but we don't see this as a counterproductive. It's something that you have to embrace and control and understand, rather than it will lead to downsizing. No, I think it's the contrary.
Well, that's good to hear.
Good to have a kind of an expertise so we can integrate and utilize it wherever it's kind of feasible and boosts other processes.
Thank you very much. That is a good, more positive view than some people I have talked to. Now I come to my last question. What advice would you give to emerging architects and designers who aim to make sustainability a core part of their practice?
I think the most important thing is to have it as a intuitive and very integrated part of your design process. So it's what I mentioned in the beginning, it's also a change of mindset, not seeing it as a separate part, but as also design process have involved, like anything else in society, you have to make it as a part of how you evaluate design, how you kind of set it as a criteria, as ambition, like you would do with any other design goal. And I also think it's very important that you have a holistic approach. For example, which I didn't mention now at all, for us also, this is social sustainability is the mother of all sustainability, or the core, the essence, like, for example, our design for the Oslo Opera, which is a truly democratic design, independent from social differences, to foster accessibility. So I think to have this as a more value-driven approach, environmentally, socially, and of course economically in the very end also, to have that embedded and set it as part of your parameters when you do design, even in the studies and then later on in practice. I think it's rather that than being something that runs aside to integrate it into your design process as you would do any other development. So it's part of your professional thinking. It's part of our professional response to be a responsible architect.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah. But of course, it might require also something from the educational institutions to integrate that properly into the programs. Also, for those having the teaching positions, calibrate a little bit the mindset so that this kind of embedded thinking also then directly influences the teaching processes. So the students, when they are finished, go fully equipped out of the universities and science institution. I think maybe there's some work to do still.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I mean, the educational institution is very important. I've been introducing it into Royal College of Art as a mentor, for architecture, for sustainability. And especially in the hospitality, which is our expertise, to really get it into hospitality in the future, leaders of hospitality. And that's what I've been doing in teaching in Lausanne at the hotel school and others, because I find that's where it starts for understanding that it is part of everything. And,
Right.
and it's an integrative part, like you said.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's very important. And I think also we see when we have interns here, they have that also as a demand for their work. I mean, they want to really make a difference. So it's also about, having a meaningful work contribution. So sustainability, I think, new generation will demand that anyhow.
Yes.
So a lot of aspects has to still catch up. And I mean, we do what we can, but I think there's still a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Also on the client side, and I think we are also in the position that we are able to educate our clients, give them good advices so they can take good decisions. So I think it's part of an ecosystem where competence obviously is key on all levels. So, and if you have a surplus on competence, sharing is of course important because it's a joint effort and on all in the total chain. It's not the architect as an isolated contributor. I mean, it's a society.
Yeah, I think that's a good ending. It's summarizing. It's really, it's only coming into fruition in collaboration with all stakeholders, like you said, from your clients. Regulations are important too, for protecting, and the team that is passionate about it to understand it, and also the end user, whatever building it is, to see that this is what can be done. And I also feel we are in a profession where we can show tangible, projects, and not just talk about something, but we can prove that we can do something, and we have to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned regulation, because I think that we also need a little bit more flexibility. Think of circular design, and then suddenly you have to produce energy. Maybe the angle of your roof has to be differently, right? So, and if there are kind of very strict framework that you have to act within, then it starts to be a little challenging. So it needs to be adaptation on all frameworks. You're right. Regulation is super important.
Yeah,
standards, all these. So innovation is possible in the end, and some projects have to be the first. And they might challenge a lot, right? But you need this to be able to set new standards. So it's the hen and the egg.
Yes, absolutely. And we always start with baby steps, but they're compounding, and we have to have the goal in mind. And I think it's not happening overnight, but we have to be on the right path every day, I feel,
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for this little interview, and congratulations again on getting the award, and for the amazing work Snøhetta has done, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully we will see many more impactful, buildings throughout the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yasmine, and also big thank you to the whole jury. Thank you.